Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, Thief of Cookies. My name is Erin, and today I'm doing some Steven Universe fan art of Blue Diamond. So she's a kind of new character. We saw her in some recent episodes, so hopefully it's not too much of a spoiler. We've seen her in earlier episodes, just not quite as close up, so since we already knew that she was a thing and kind of saw her a little bit before, hopefully this doesn't really count as a spoiler. Sorry if it does to anybody. But yeah, no, I really loved this character. I really loved her design. It's very long and tall, and so I had to kind of fight against, tend to draw my characters kind of squat, and so I had to go back and lengthen out her skirt a couple times before I got her to a point that she looked tall enough. So yeah, I wanted to kind of have a religious icon kind of a look. I just spent some time at an art museum the other day, so I guess it's just kind of on my mind. But yeah, no, I was kind of reminded of the murals where we first see the diamonds in Steven Universe, and so I thought this would be kind of a fun little piece of art that is kind of reminiscent of that, but in a different way. So I went for a really stiff, straightforward, straight-on pose, kind of reminiscent of, because in the icons in the Middle Ages of Europe, you'd kind of see it's just like a piece of wood, and then you'd have a saint painted onto it, and they'd just be kind of standing there, and they just kind of maybe have their hand up to be doing a blessing, or they'll be holding a cross or a Bible or some other item of whatever religious significance. And so that's kind of what I wanted to reflect with this, especially with the tone paper and the colored pencil on top of it. That's just kind of the feel that I wanted to go for. I thought about putting a halo on her, and then I decided that that's, it doesn't really have a place in the Steven Universe canon at all, so I thought it would be a little bit too distracting and not really add anything to the piece, so. But yeah, no, there's not a whole lot exciting about the ink. I just went very flat, very weightless, just straight lined. I used a blue pen because Blue Diamond is super blue. So yeah, I used that. It does darken on the tone paper since it's additive. And then put it on, the ink soaks into the paper, and the pigment adds to the pigment that's in the paper, rather than with the pencils, the pigment just kind of sits on top, and you just see the pigment of the pencil lead, rather than it soaking in and adding to the tone of the paper. So it darkened quite a bit, and I'm not sure if you can really tell that it's blue, but it is, so there's that. I went for some really minimal shading with the color, since again I was basing it on that religious icon kind of a look, and they didn't really do a whole lot of really great shading back then, so my focus was less on the definition of each form and more on the definition between each form. So with her hand that's up next to her chest and her hair, I darkened up her fingers a little bit, since her hand is the same tone as her chest, and really similar to her hair and everything. I wanted it to be a little bit more clear in how the pose reads. So that's what I was focusing on mostly with my shading, is just differentiating between those forms and just trying to get a clear read on her pose. So yeah, totally forgot to draw her half gloves at first when I was coloring those hands. And so the fabric of them is a little bit more light since I had to put it on a light base. And then as I was just coloring in the rest of her outfit and everything, I struggled a lot with getting a nice saturation of color. As you can kind of see, the paper's just a little bit toothy that I was working on. It's not really like a cold pressed watercolor paper or anything that you would find like that, but I did struggle with getting the pigment to really fill in the gaps in the tooth of the paper, and so I ended up wasting actually a lot of my colored pencils because I just kind of rubbed it really hard into the paper to try to kind of iron out the paper and fill in those gaps. But then I remembered that I have a colorless blender for my Prismacolor pencils, and so I used that, and that works really well at pushing around the pencil wax and pigment and everything, and just really digging it into those grooves in the paper. So I wish that I had done that earlier so that I didn't have to waste so much of my pencils. But I mean, it works, you know, so. And then this pink bubble that she's, you know, just kind of holding in front of her. I ended up having to, when I went to scan it later, the neon pink of the bubble really didn't scan very well. I think it's just my scanner. I'm not sure, I've never tried to scan a neon color with another scanner. But it definitely doesn't scan very well. I've done work with like neon gel pens and stuff before, and I ended up with the same problem. It just completely bypasses the pigment on top and just goes to the paper underneath, which is kind of a bummer, because I really liked the look of that pink on top of the paper. It was just really nice and bright, and I liked it. And right here with my coloring, my blue pencil broke, and I was just determined not to let that lead go to waste, and so I just grabbed a little lead nib and was just using it to try to shade in the rest of that bit of her skirt. So anyway, so that's all I have to say about this, and it looks like I'm getting close to the end anyway, so I'll just let you finish up the video. Thank you so much for watching and coming to my channel. I really appreciate everybody who watches this, and I had a really fun time making this, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!